guys, my name is Abby and welcome back to a new video. This one I'm hoping to try to do something maybe a little new. Instead of just being a tutorial, I want it to be more of a vlog style. So go more into detail about like how I obtain the materials, my inspiration, the drawing, designing process, all that good stuff. So this might be a bit of a longer video, also a bit of a roller coaster. But so I come from a very small town, but every summer something fun my town does is they have a cute little fair. 2019 I entered the fair. I entered a dress I made and a hand-stitched quilt, and I actually won first place in both of them. That's what those two ribbons up there are. And that was in 2019. And then 2020, COVID hit, and then the fair didn't happen. And then now the fair is like started back up again, but they don't really have sewing portions like that. Like obviously my area that I know well is clothing, and the only clothing section they have is baby, like children's or dolls. Neither of which I've made. I've made a baby dress once, and that was 5-6 years ago. Very long time. Very long time. Especially since I'd be going against like people that actually made clothes for children. I don't think that's my area of strong suit. But one of the other sewing portions is accessories. So I think I'm going to try and make a purse. I've made 2 purses before in my life. Second one's definitely better than the first one. And I think right now the hardest thing is what kind of design I want for the purse, because I definitely want it to be very quirky and original, like something you really can't buy. Something that when you look at it, you just know she had to have made this, because what store would sell this? Not bad, because it's weird. That's my goal. I definitely just want to do it for fun, to give myself something to do, a motivation goal in a way. When there's a deadline set, I'm more likely to sew and work on it, versus if it's just for fun, I'm more like, it can wait. No, now there's a deadline. I'm gonna make this purse. We're gonna go out, we're gonna buy stuff. I don't know what my design is. I think it'll depend on the kind of fabrics they have. So first stop, since there's a Hobby Lobby literally right at the end of my street, I want to try Hobby Lobby. Hopefully everything I need is there, because fabric's also on sale there. I'm kinda broke. I don't want to spend a lot of money. If it's not there, I'll have to drive to Joann's, which is 30 minutes away. So let's hope Hobby Lobby has what we need. So let's go to Hobby Lobby and see what fabrics they have to make this purse. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I went out, I bought everything to make this purse, and then I stopped. I got, not like bored, but like I lost the motivation. And it is now currently 1 in the morning, and I said, you know what? I'm feeling motivated. So I looked up pictures of candy online for the bag, and I was like, let me just rough sketch some down. We're not gonna pick that back up, but that is what I'm thinking about doing for right now. My big thing now is, how big is the bag going to be? How many pieces of candy do I need? At first I was gonna start with the candy because I was like, they're gonna take longer to make. But now I'm thinking about it, I feel like I should make the bag first, so I know how big to make the candy and how much to make. Because if the bag is huge, you don't want little pieces of candy. Like, they have to be proportional for it to make sense. So I should make the bag first. But like, I don't have the brain power to do math. It's too early. I should be like in bed. But the fabric, I ended up going with this. The lighting is horrible in here because I only have my fairy lights. This is kind of like a dark maroonish brown. It's definitely closer to brown, but I feel like it works more in a way. And then to go with it, they had no candy or like food fabric at Hobby Lobby. What? Like, they only had donuts, and I was like, whatever. The nearest Joann's from my home is like 40 minutes away, and I was like, yeah. So I got this. It's like pine cones. I don't know, but it's like cute
and they match, and it's just for like the inside bag lining. And I think for the inside I want to do a welted pocket to make it like fancier inside, but I feel like I should draft how I'm gonna make the bag because I really don't know.
Taking the base of the fabric, I used the fold edge to sketch out half the heart, and then after cutting it out, the two halves of the heart would then be symmetrical. I made sure to cut out 2 hearts, one for the front of the bag and one for the back. Then I also cut out 2 strips of fabric that would be used on the sides of the bag to help make it roomier and wider. Then, using the pieces I just cut out of the pleather, I placed them on top of the lining fabric and cut out the pieces again, therefore having all my pieces be identical. Also, using the lining fabric, I cut out 2 rectangles that would be the pocket lining for the welted pocket that I wanted to make on the inside of the bag.
Okay, my house is like 100 degrees and I feel like I'm melting, so I look really bad. But I cut out the hearts and the lining. They're really big. I was going for like a crossbody, but I think I want like a tote bag instead. I don't know how with like the point it's gonna work out, but it's gonna be more like aesthetic than practical purposes anyway. I'm just gonna use it like a purse. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I bought a whole bunch of these beads to do the like embroidery, and then I think for the candy I'm just gonna do felt, so it's nothing like, it's the receipt. Nothing too crazy or bad. My thing right now is I'm deciding on how big I want the pieces of candy to be. Like if this is the size of the heart, like I think I'm gonna put like another one around it to kind of be like the base of it in a way, if that makes sense. You know, like sometimes there's a cover and there's like the plastic and then you can see they don't reach all the way to the edge, so it's not gonna fill the entire heart, but proportions are not my friend and that's what I'm nervous about. But we're just going to try it and wing it. I'm gonna make one right now and see how it goes. Like just cut it out before I bead it, because beading's gonna take a while and I'm not gonna bead unless I'm 100% positive it's gonna look good.
For the candies, I used a bunch of felt and beads. I chose felt to give it more texture to the bag, as well as for the fact that it doesn't fray and is very easy to work with. I tried to cut out an array of rectangles and circles, and then for some of the candies, I just sewed on beads to act as sprinkles, and for others, I used other felt pieces to create like mini fruits, and then sewed the beads on top. And then for others, I cut out squiggles of felt to act as icing, and then also sewed beads on top of that. So essentially every piece of candy had some kind of bead accent on it.
Hello, my house is still a literal heater and I feel so gross, but it's fine because I've made some. Like for this one, first I sewed down the heart and then I sewed all the beading onto it, but then I also made these two and I didn't sew down the colored felt first. I just sewed the beading right onto it, and I feel like that was easier and it took less time to do that, but I think they look so cute, the little candies, so I'm going to continue to do that. I think like this one is like a red velvet one with like white little dots, so I'm going to bead all the white. And then this one I think I'm going to make it black, and I'm going to use the paint to make it look like sprinkles on it. Maybe put like 3 beads together to make like the sprinkles. I'm going to guess I'm going to need like 20 to 25 pieces of candy. And so because like I don't really know how long it's going to take to do it all, because those probably took all together for me like 2 hours. I would say that for sure one of my least favorite parts about doing this project is just how tiny like the beads are. Let me pick up another one. I just dropped it. Like, you see how small that little thing is? And so they get lost so easily. Like the white cap, I dropped my phone on it by accident and the thing literally broke open. So like these little beads were everywhere. And like I weren't sure. They were like impossible to find. I feel like you can't tell I'm wearing a top, but I am. Am I gonna get in trouble for that? I'm not sure of this, I promise. But yeah, so the beads are just so small and super hard to find. And it's like, I don't want to turn on my overhead light because it makes the room hotter. And it's already hot. I don't want it hotter. But then if I put on my fairy lights, I can't see them. So I can really only work on it when it's daytime, because the second the sun goes down, I'm done. I cannot see. I hate the beads. They're everywhere. I feel like I clean them all up, and then I'll go to walk, and one will get stuck on my foot. And I'm like, how are you everywhere, but nowhere at the same time? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't. But I'm going to sew these candies while I rewatch The Business Proposal for like the 14th time, because it's one of my favorite dramas.
Once I had all my candies decorated, I laid them out on top of the inside of the box piece of fabric, and once I was happy with their placement, I then hand-stitched down each candy. Once the candies were secured, I pinned it down onto the front of the bag. I used pins here since I would be sewing over it, therefore you wouldn't see the hole punctures in the pleather. Going back to the lining, I cut a slit near the top, that was the length of the zipper, as well as cutting a little bit near the edges to help me fold in the fabric easier. Next, I sewed the insides of the pocket lining rectangles, leaving the top open for the opening of the pocket. Now, sewing welted pockets isn't very difficult, but I always seem to confuse myself with it, but the way I do it is I first fold in the slit, place the zipper over it, and then I place the opening of the pocket lining on top of it for each side to kind of tuck in the raw edge and make it look clean. But once the pocket was all sewn on, I sewed the sides of the lining hearts. I cut out 2 rectangles for each side, having the rectangles connect at the bottom point of the heart, with the front and the back connecting to either side of the rectangle so that the lining of the bag was complete. Here I started to worry that the bag was a little ugly, so I sewed down a lace trim and a pretty thin pink ribbon over top of that along the sides of the candy pieces just to make it a little bit cuter. And then, just like the lining, I sewed on the side rectangles to both heart pieces with them connecting at the bottom point. Then, taking a strip of the pleather, I folded it in on itself and sewed down both sides to make a sturdy strap, and I repeated that to have my 2 shoulder straps. Next, with the right sides together, I clipped down the lining of the heart. Unlike with sewing down the tiny inside heart, I could not use pins here because the pins would puncture the fabric and leave a hole, which we do not want, so I used clips to connect them and avoid puncturing it. I made sure to sandwich in the straps between the 2 layers, and then I sewed them down, leaving an opening, and then I turned the bag right side out and then top stitched down the top of the bag to also further secure the straps. And then, once again, the parasites were taking over and telling me that this bag was ugly. So I made these cute pink bows using the same pink ribbon as before, and hand stitched them down at the 2 high points of the heart and the bottom point of the heart. Lastly, I sewed on a big snap so I could close the bag if needed, while fighting with this candle for the focus of the camera.
It is currently 5 a.m. The bag has to be turned in at 9 a.m. and it is all done. And I'm so sleepy, but I'm like, is it worth going to sleep while I wake up? I don't know, but I feel like there's a lot of things I could have done better about the bag if I just had more time and patience, but I'm just really tired of this bag now. I think I probably put 25 to 30 hours into it because hand sewing the beads took a lot of time. But it's done, and I will be proud of the fact that it's done and just be in denial about how bad it looks.